Quest.
The adventure game podcast.
You know, I was just holding out because I love that second part where the drum like comes in right towards the like the end of that. Like I know there there's part of me that just also I love pushing it. I love pushing it as far as I can. Seeing
Yeah, I
how
wish you
long I
could all
can
see
make the
Ben's face. Like the longer the theme song goes,
He's
just
not
this maniacal grin
he's not
just spreads.
joking, by the
No,
way.
no,
He's
this
not
is this is
joking. That is real.
this isn't just the character. This is just the person telling you that Ben, the person, can't get enough of that.
He's not doing a jest. How you doing, Jess?
Just fine. How about you? Oh man, already the boo birds are
Yeah,
out.
it's spring and the boo birds are in the trees. Speaking of boo birds, how are your cats doing? And
Oh,
this connection is, because cats love to watch. Like my new home that I've now been in for
mhm.
I would say about a month now. Like has like a good view into like a little courtyard with a bunch of trees that the cats love watching like the spring birds coming in.
Mm-hmm.
How are your cats doing? How's Blood Clone? I don't know if we've talked
Oh
about Blood
man,
Clone in the podcast. Maybe.
I'm not sure if we have either. You know, Blood Clone is our sweet little kitten. She is almost a year old now. She was born with pituitary dwarfism, so she was a little tiny girl, and with some special therapy, has grown now into a big, fearsome girl who is an absolute terror, and we love her to death. But she's enjoying it. I mean, she is spending a lot of time just running. We have our couch up against a windowsill in our living room. So
Uh-huh.
she spends a lot of time just like running back and forth across the back of the couch and the windowsill,
Yep.
watching all the birds outside.
Yeah.
Our outdoor cat, we have an outdoor cat by the name of Weeble, who is a
Oh
fearsome
yeah,
hunter.
Weeble.
He has claimed his first prey of the season, unfortunately. So yeah, he's out there doing his thing.
How about Jax? You forgot you have one more cat.
Jax is more of a leisure cat. He is really just resting up for the next stage, and we don't know right now what the next stage is.
How
But
old is Jax?
he's about 9 years old, so too
Okay, so
early to be like
yeah, no,
retired. Yeah,
he's not.
yeah,
He's got a good long cat life
yeah.
still to come.
He's really, as we've been having more food in the house for the kitten, Jax has been cultivating a lot of additional mass over the past several months. So I think he's getting a hold of some kitten wet food, and there's nothing more delicious than a can of wet food when you're living off that dry food.
So I have two cats. I have
Mm-hmm.
Kira, who is a gray and black tabby who I've had these a pandemic cat. I got him
Mm-hmm.
in 2020. It's 5 years old. And I have Teddy, who is 2 years old now that I
Mm-hmm.
think about it.
And I've met
Uh
these cats, and they are great cats.
you haven't met Teddy.
Oh, I didn't
You
meet Teddy.
you
I
have
met
not met
Kira.
Teddy. You just
I
met
thought,
Kira.
oh wow, that's
Hold
right.
on. When was I was because Teddy's
April.
gotcha day was in April. So let's see here. What if I'm discovering right now that today is
Oh
Teddy's
no.
no, it was a week ago.
Okay, good. Sorry, Teddy. Teddy, if you're listening, I'm sorry, Daddy forgot your special day.
Yeah, that's fine. I got Teddy on the 13th of April, so now I've had Teddy for over a year. And he's an orange without a thought in his mind.
Good,
Um,
good, good, good. Now,
and but he uh spent some amount of time on the street. Like he
mm-hmm.
has a knocked ear, which means
Oh,
like that's
nice.
like he was a caught and release. But
Mm-hmm.
he's so friendly and like, like he's a lap cat. He's a hardcore lap cat. And so like, he's not like Kira, who has never been like out on the streets, is way more an asshole and
Mm-hmm.
like bitey and fighty and clawy than
Well,
Teddy,
pampered.
who's like a total sweetheart. Um, but Teddy's thing from, I'm going to assume, from being out on the streets, but maybe it's just that he's a hungry boy, is that, especially when I first got him, he's stopped doing this now, is that he would eat all of, like, he would vacuum up all of his food. And Kira, who has always lived in the lap of luxury, because that's what I give him.
Oh
Uh,
no.
uh, uh, Kira just has like a little bite of food, and then he walks away, and then he comes back, and then he has another bite, and then he comes back. And so what would happen is that Teddy would eat all of his food and then move over to Kira's, and then eat all of Kira's food, and then
Come and take
Kira's,
your lasagna.
yeah, yeah, and
Just
then he took
scarf
my
that.
lasagna, and then he sent Kira to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. And then
Um,
there's that one time he was smoking a pipe and
and like, and we don't talk about my old roommate Lyman. But
not
uh
enough.
but I've had to get Kira a chip feeder because Teddy, and the thing is that not only does Kira have a chip feeder, which is, if you're listening and you don't know what that is, it's like a protected feeder that it reads like the pet chip in Kira's
Mhm.
neck, and so he puts his neck under it, and then it opens up the bowl so he could
Yeah.
eat it.
Ben is running a cyber dystopia for
Yeah,
cats out of his
yeah.
out of his home.
But so I have that, but then the thing is that then Teddy will just wait until Kira goes up to it, puts his neck under it, and starts eating, and then just stick, like, and then just come from the other side and then stick his face right into the plate
Yeah.
and like start eating there too. And so I've had to construct like walls, like the recycling bin and the trash bin, and it's
Yeah.
pressed up against the wall. Like I've had to construct this elaborate thing to prevent Teddy from stealing Kira's
Yeah.
food
No, I
because
mean, this is the
he's a
problem
monster.
with these systems. It's like, when Apple first introduced, you can unlock your phone with your face.
Mm.
And like my mom, who's a major boomer, was like, what if someone like cuts my face off and uses it to get into my phone? These technologies
Had your
aren't foolproof.
mom just seen Face Off? Was your
my,
mom
my
was your
mom
mom
actually
doing
wrote the
a
script for Face Off. You don't know that. Yeah.
yeah, was
But
your
I mean,
mom doing like a Nicolas Cage marathon? And
she was
she was
also really
like,
worried about the security of the Declaration of Independence at the time.
yeah.
She kept bringing that up. It's like, what happened if someone stole the Declaration of Independence? Or, if there was a flight full of convicts up in the air. And I was like,
Right.
Mom, are you just watching a lot of Nicolas Cage films? But she'll never tell.
Yeah. Well, there is one thing I'd like you to tell me, Jess, and
Uh
that's,
huh.
what have you been playing?
Wow, Ben, I'm so glad you asked that because I have been playing a game on my stream that you recommended. And you told me, Jess, I think you're going to love this game. And you could not have been more correct. I've been playing the fan remake of King's Quest II, the VGA remake developed by AGD Interactive. I think it was originally released in 2002.
Yeah, it was called
The talkie-
Tierra at the
Yeah.
time. It didn't
Yeah.
have the talkie because I downloaded it at
Mhm.
that time.
Yeah.
And then like right now, the version that you would download, which is version 3, I think,
Mhm.
like 3.0. I think like this final, like the final version was released out into the world in 2010.
Yes, and I played this for the first time over the past few weeks. After we did our King's Quest II episode, you told me how much you thought I would enjoy this. King's Quest II is a game that I love, and I have to say, this remake really blew me away. Sometimes I'm a little bit picky when it comes to fan games. This one was just an absolute delight. The level of professionalism and production value for an indie game made in the early 2000s and I guess, refreshed in 2010 is just startling. You know, a lot of people know about this game already. It expands on the story of King's Quest 2. It switches some things up. It subverts some of your expectations here and there. But the bones of this story, you know, it's still King Graham in search of Valanice and true love and all that. All the main beats are there, but it switches things up a lot. It was just an absolute joy to play. It reminded me of a lot of the things that I loved about King's Quest 2, while also delivering some pleasant surprises along the way. So highly recommend this to anyone who hasn't had a chance to play it yet. Definitely, Ben, you were right on the money. This game was absolutely for me.
And thank you, Jess. It was a lot of fun watching you stream it. And I think what the trick is with this is that in many ways, it really nails the feel more often than it doesn't.
Right.
Like, and I'll be a little critical of it. It's been out for over 10 years, or over 20 years. So it's like, I don't feel like that bad. Like, I try to withhold, like, too much criticism from like a free game, like a fan game. It's a labor of love. Like,
but here it comes.
But it's been out for 20 years. Like,
Buckle up,
it's like it's been out for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gotten all of its fucking laurels. Like, it's fine.
Strap in, gang. Ben's got something to say.
But what I would say is that it's like, I love this game. I think what is like, when it's at its absolute best, it feels like it has, and I think I said this on the podcast when we talked about it, it feels like a King's Quest game. It feels like a King's Quest game that would come out after 5 and before 6. And
yes.
Like, I would say what it does, like, at its best, it nails the feel without feeling sweaty. And when it like kind of falls down for me and I kind of like roll my eyes and go fan game, is when it's like a little like it's a little too interested in creating like a massive continuity scaffold, which is very Spanish.
Oh yeah, I mean, the little bit of fan fiction I've written in my life is all about, how can I connect these two threads from a property I love with the thinnest of thread between just any connection I can make, and try to have fun with that. It does delve into, I mean, King's Quest fans are obsessed with this idea of the Black Cloak Society. It delves into that, and those are the parts of it that honestly work a little bit less for me. But then when it's at its best, you're right, it just feels like authentic King's Quest. It has the corny humor that King's Quest V has, which is a very odd kind. Like, King's Quest V in particular has an odd sense of humor in that it's not super funny or super witty, but there are lots of like nice little chuckles that you might get out playing King's Quest V. And I feel like this one hits that tone beautifully most of the game. And yeah, for me, that was it was real joy. I mean, I could have imagined this being a legitimate Sierra game, which I couldn't say about most fan games I've played.
And I think that was the aim. I think like the aim, I don't know anything about the development of this other than that they put a lot into it. Is that one gets the sense playing it that their number one objective was to make it feel like a real King's Quest game.
Yes.
Like, and not like some sort of adjunct or something else, but make it really, really feel like a King's Quest game. And at that, it succeeds. It's just like when it gets very referential to like other stuff, I kind of roll my eyes.
Like, I mean, spoiler alert, I don't need to see a brief cameo from Connor from Mask of Eternity. Like, that's probably not completely necessary, but there it is anyway.
I think of
like,
all
yeah.
of its sins, that one is obnoxious, but I kind of think it's funny because they
is.
reference like the most hated game in the series.
Yeah.
So I kind
Yeah.
of think that's funny.
Yeah. And
But yeah, that shouldn't be there.
no, it probably shouldn't. And it resisted the ultimate like siren call of any King's Quest fan property, which is it didn't overdo the Cedric thing. Like it, you know, that is low hanging fruit. And I say that as someone who made a King's Quest fan game that shows an owl logo every time someone dies. So that is absolutely low hanging fruit. And this game didn't go there too often. So kudos for them.
Yeah, I have so much more I could say about it, but like we already have a podcast on King's
That's
Quest
right.
2, so it's like
Go
whatever.
back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Our archives are free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
like,
but, I mean,
yeah.
I guess the thing I'm wondering though, Ben,
What are you wondering?
I've just been wondering, what have you been playing?
Well, Jess, friend of the pod, Mike, gifted me a code. They know that I am a pinball fan. They gifted me a code for the game Vaporwave Pinball. Like, regular listeners of this podcast know I'm a pinball head.
A real
And-
pinball wizard.
You know,
Does anyone ever say that in the pinball community? Does that ever come up?
Here's something I'll offer to the listeners for free. People who play pinball hate it.
What? No way. First, I'm surprised I'm not the first person to think of it.
Yeah.
The second of all, that people would hate that? No way.
But anyway, Vaporwave Pinball is like it is exactly what it is on the tin. It is a pinball game that is in like those like that CGA 4-color, like the cyan magenta, and like with kind of chill backgrounds of like a
like
Roman
this.
statue and like
Yeah.
a pool and stuff like that. It all looks like it's a very aesthetics heavy game, and like this is very specific. I felt like I was called out in the description here. If you look at the description on Steam, which by the way, this game is $5, which is, that's, Jess, you said, I think like 2 weeks ago, that's your, like, I would get that and not be disappointed if I, didn't like it.
Yeah.
But one of the things in the description is bullet point. Less for pinball simulation fans and more for chill, flow state pinball fans.
Yes.
Which is, I am so thoroughly called out by that because I have like, if it is a pinball simulation, I have very specific needs, not even wants, needs.
Yes.
And
A degree of fidelity, I imagine.
it's not even fidelity in physics is one thing, but also it's like how like the design of a table, the rules, like there's a lot to like. For example, I don't like most. I would say all. There's very few Pinball FX original tables I think are good. I think the majority of them are poor. So these are very simple tables. Like there's no ramps. They're just like these 2D tables. There's stuff to do on them. It's not that you're not doing anything. Like you have like objectives beyond scoring. Like you can modify the table. Like there's interesting growth and the tables change in interesting ways. But what it reminded me of, and this is in a good way, is like of the tables, like this aesthetic, especially because you're dealing with like that CGA color palette on the tables specifically. It reminds me of playing Bill Budge's Pinball Constructor on my PC Junior.
I'm so glad you said that because I was getting ready to break in with the exact comment. I'm looking at screenshots of this,
Yeah.
and part of it is simple 2D tables.
Yeah.
The other part of it is the CGA color palette.
Yeah.
It is giving me massive pinball construction set vibes.
Did
that
you
was
have
what
that?
I
Did you have
did. It
that
was
as
one
a
of the
kid?
earliest games I
Yeah.
ever owned. It was probably got it within a few months of King's Quest 2 with my first computer. And
That game,
I love it. Love it.
like that was probably one of the things that was like a brick on like in the road towards me becoming a pin. Like I played that because what was great about it was I was probably playing it at age 4 and I was making like pinball tables because it's like it had a what you see is what you get like table designer and it was drag and drop.
Yeah.
Like we
Which
had a
was
little
wild at the time.
joystick for our PC Junior that you could like do all of it. It was like so easy that like a 5-year-old could make a pinball machine in it. And these look like they are, yeah, as you said, it's giving Bill Budge.
Yeah, which also had its own vaporwave cover
That's
for
right.
the EA release.
Remarkably vapor. Like
Have you ever seen the original cover that came before that?
Oh yeah, that looks like
It's
a
amazing too.
toolkit.
Yeah, that looks like something you buy at IKEA, like full of pinball parts.
Yeah,
it's two amazing covers. Two amazing covers. Couldn't be more different.
The vaporwave one is for those of you who don't know what it looks like. It's two like disembodied hands that are like gray or something, and like a pinball floating in the center of it, and it does have like those vaporwave colors.
Yeah,
it's
fantastic.
It would be shocking to me if the developers of this game had never played or seen Bill Budge's pinball constructor.
It feels
Because
like it has
looks
to be.
Like
Yeah.
it just looks like it.
It does. Yeah,
and-
too
Yeah.
much to be a coincidence. I feel like. I mean, it is. I'm actually looking at this and thinking about buying it because it's triggering that pinball construction set vibe for me. Which I mean, again, just such a good game. I had that vaporwave. Yeah, it was one of those EA games that came in the sleeve, like almost like an album cover rather than a box.
Yep.
I had that thing tacked up on my wall for a good chunk of my childhood. It looks like some sort of trippy poster you'd buy at Spencer Gifts at some level, or like a blacklight poster or something. But man, did I play the hell out of that game. And yeah, Vaporwave Pinball definitely has those vibes. And Ben, I guess I would ask, like, if people want to send you more free games, how could they contact you?
Yeah, they can contact me at questquestpodcast@gmail.com. I can be bought. We were that wasn't our pre-pod chat where I said if someone gave me $1 million, I would shut up for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Our topic for this week is one that I am super hyped about. I can't believe we spent this long getting to it because this is a game I love dearly. I can't wait to talk about. Ben, we are going to be talking this week about Quest for Glory 2 Trial by Fire.
Oh,
such a good game.
Now, it's funny, like, like we made this big deal of like we're going to play all the King's Quest in order and that will like be a thing, but I guess we're doing that with Quest for Glory 2 or Quest for Glory as well. Because you and it's been a minute since we talked about Quest for Glory 1, so I don't remember if we talked. I'm sure we talked about this. You and I played all of Quest for Glory
in tandem.
Yeah.
Yes. On Tuesday nights, you would stream with your dashing rogue, and then I would follow up on Wednesday with my my wizarding pal Wizzo, and we worked our way through all 5 Quest for Glory games together, essentially.
Yeah,
running our own separate characters. It was a real blast to get to go back and replay all of these.
Yeah, and which I'd never done.
I'd never taken a character start to finish either. I never even played 5 until it was my first time playing 5.
Yeah, I never beaten 5, and I also got a bad ending on 5.
Oh, I got a real bad ending on 5.
Talking about this is making me think I'd do that again.
Absolutely. I was thinking about this earlier today as we were planning this episode. I thought to myself,
yeah,
It'd be really fun to stream Quest for Glory 2 again. Then I'm like, well, why would I do that if I don't just
No,
stream Quest for
it's
Glory
just
1
do all of
first?
them.
Yeah.
Just do
I
all of
mean,
them.
let's do it. That's it.
I honestly, Jess, like, deal. We'll do it again.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Shake on it. It's happening.
Shook. All right, we're doing Quest for Glory again. Like,
There it is.
fine,
You heard it
easy.
here
Like,
first.
this is, and I want to be clear. This is not something we discussed beforehand. This is like spur of the moment on the
Mhm.
podcast. I'm absolutely going to do this. We are going to play Quest for Glory. We'll figure out what we're gonna do to make it different. We'll have to play different classes.
Yes.
One of us is gonna get to be the paladin. So
Well,
like
that's something I want to talk about tonight
we'll have to
as we
figure that
record
out.
this.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
because
But
this is
Quest for
tough.
Glory 2. Quest for Glory 2.
Quest for Glory 2. Ben, I think this is going to be another one of those episodes where we spend a lot of time raving about a game because I know personally Quest for Glory 2 is one of my all-time favorites. In fact, I think I can say confidently that probably I like Quest for Glory 1 a little more, but for me Quest for Glory 2 is almost neck and neck. Like these two games as a 1-2 punch is as strong as any two back-to-back games I think in Sierra's catalog for me.
I would agree with that. I think I like Quest for Glory 2 a little less, but I still like it. Like it's
Yeah.
like I you know, I was thinking about this, like, because we were talking about this when we were talking about the LucasArts games. Like, we were talking, or at least I was talking about how, like, you look at like Maniac Mansion, and then you look at Zach McCracken, um, and you see one, and it's a very like small and dense and tight first design, and then a second game where it's just like, all right, well, let's blow it out, let's do everything.
Yes.
And Quest for Glory 2 in some ways feels kind of similar to me in that it's a game where it's like Quest for Glory 1, it takes place in the sleepy town with a very small cast of characters. There's like a small list of things that you have to do. There, like, it's a very compact kind of game, and that's one of the things I love about Quest for Glory 1 is that it's a
Yes.
place.
Spielberg's amazing, and we covered this
Yeah,
extensively
yeah,
in
yeah.
that Quest for Glory. I mean, because yeah, I mean, it feels like a small little world, a living, breathing place. You can imagine the relationships that have existed between these characters before you came to the valley in your quest to be a hero. Yeah, I mean, Spielberg is hard to beat as a game setting. It
Yeah,
is literally Game Town.
and it doesn't, and so like Quest for Glory 2, you transplant it, and now we're from like the sleepy town to a bustling city.
Yes,
And so like there's all sorts of merchants and characters, and like there's like so much more, and so much more, like each class has considerably more to do. There's if I there's still like the thieving parts are a lot more involved.
mm-hmm.
The wizard part is like this
Oh my
big grand
gosh.
like series of puzzles. Like there's a lot in it. Like there's just so much more, and like and it's successful at it, where like like Zach McCracken is like like it feels like there's so much more, but to what end? Like
Yes, it
Quest
feels
for
like there's
Glory.
so much more just to have so much more at some level. I feel like, whereas this one, yeah, I mean, it expands this world in a really fascinating way, and then, gosh, it feels so open. Like all the plazas in Shapeir. I mean, I don't even think you necessarily have to buy stuff from even all the merchants. Some of them are just there for funsies or for
Yeah,
optional solutions and things like that.
I don't even
I mean,
remember now. Like I
yeah, I
didn't
mean,
check when I went back and checked. Like uh
it feels very alive though in a fascinating way, and I think it leverages this 1001 Arabian Nights setting quite effectively. I guess we should give
yeah.
a
What's the plot? What's the plot of
what's the plot.
Quest for Glory 2?
So the hero has been summoned to the land of Shapeir. He's going there with Shima and oh gosh, what's Shima's husband's name?
Oh, jeez.
Oh no. Oh no, we're going to
Isn't
get
it like
called out as
Shameen? Shamir,
Shameen,
yeah.
Shameen. I think Shameen's correct. And Abdullah Do have taken us back to their homeland of Shapeir, where the kingdom has fallen into crisis. The emir has gone missing. There is this fallen city of Raisir, the sister city of Shapeir. And once you're there, the city is beset by a series of elementals who begin plaguing the plazas and the corridors of this twisty Shapirian landscape.
Mm. And uh so one of the major differences between Quest for Glory 1 and Quest for Glory 2 is that and part of what makes its world a little more rich uh is that it has like kind of a dynamic timer. Like
Mm-hmm.
things are different, like one or two things. I don't know if every day things are different. I think they're generally the same for a lot of days, but like things change like on some days.
Yeah, you'll get up one morning and they'll say, "There's something going on at the town plaza, hero. Perhaps you should go check it out."
Right.
And it's a special trigger. So yeah, it's all unfolding over like a 30-day period, which I know is a frustration. This is something that the game occasionally gets knocked for. The idea that you're on a timer, you end up with situations where I think fewer people feel rushed by it, and more people feel like they're stuck just waiting around for the next big event to trigger.
It's
Once
it's
you know the solutions, you can power through it
it's a
fairly
very
quick.
sorry. It's a very generous clock. As
Yeah,
a kid, I didn't like it, and I still have a bit of this bias because like from being a kid. As a kid, I didn't like it because in the other Quest for Glories, like you could just kind of hang out, and that was how I liked to play the game. Was just kind of like wander around the town and like fight some monsters,
yeah,
and it's just kind of a different way that the game is. Like it's not like good or bad. I like my preference goes more towards the kind of not like a strict, because the thing is that the things, when I say it's a dynamic timer, it's a strict timer. It's like on day 5 this happens. It's not this happens if you completed X, Y, and Z. It's
hmm,
that no matter what, on day 5 the fire elemental or whichever,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and
And if you
and
don't
that
solve it by a certain time,
yeah, then
it's
you're
going to be
dead.
game over for you.
Yeah.
But no, and this is again, I think probably this is one of what I would think are maybe the two biggest knocks you hear about the game. I think that a lot of people say this timer, yeah, makes certain elements feel rushed, and then other times you're just sitting around waiting for the next thing to happen. You're going out to the desert to throw rocks and climb walls to raise your skills in this adventure RPG, or you're just like popping stamina pills so you can stay up all night to grind out talents and things like that. The other knock, probably that comes up most frequently, is one that you encounter right away in the game, which is navigating the city of Shapeir, which is itself something of a maze of corridors. Now, granted, this is copy protection. The game comes with a lovely map.
The map that comes with it is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, it is. I have my boxed copy over here on the shelf, and the map is still just one of my favorite all time Sierra Phillies. I had that pinned up on my wall right beside my Bill Budge's pinball construction set
You know what I had
box.
pinned up on my wall, and I wish I had now, because I have a like a spare room here, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it. And it's
Hmm.
going to be like a bit of a game room, so it's like maybe I'll put up like game stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I had uh when I got the limited edition of Might and Magic 6, the Mandate of
Oh.
Heaven, when that came out in I think 96, 97. and that came with every previous Might and Magic game. Like that was what the
Oh,
benefit of that. And
yeah.
in the box, it came with the maps, like the fold up maps of
Oh.
like Might and Magic 1 and 2 and 3. And I like they were just I didn't even really play Might and Magic 1 and 2 but like those maps were so like they were fun fantasy maps, you
Yeah.
know? Like in the same way that like you open up like some any given like $5 fantasy paperback, and like the first like page or two is like the 2-page spread of like a hand drawn map, like,
Ooh.
and you know like they had that look to them, so I had those next to my bed when I was like a teenager because I was like, these are so cool. And you know what, I'd put them on my wall now as someone that's almost 40. Like
No, you should. And I mean, I will also say, Ben, I just found this today. The Chicago Game Space there in your town of Chicago actually sells prints of
I
the
have seen
Shapeir
that.
map. I
Oh,
did. That's an odd thing for them to sell.
oh, I
They
didn't
have
know
the
that they were selling prints of the Shapeir. I knew that they were selling prints, and I need to go over there because they have an exhibit, and I don't know how much longer. Maybe I've even missed it. They have a King's Quest one. Are you on that page right now? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it lasts until the end of the month because I was looking at
all
this
right, yeah,
too.
I
Let's
gotta
see.
go over there.
Yeah, no, it's let's see.
They have a King's
Yeah,
Quest one exhibit
hmm
over at the Chicago
through
Game
April
Space.
27th. So you have a little
I
bit
have 10
longer
days.
to
Yeah,
get there. But their shop currently has a ton of Sierra prints. You could get your own codename Iceman poster.
I wonder if
You could
those are there or if it's only on
That's a good
the shop.
question. That's a really good question. I bet they're only on the online shop. But I don't know that. I don't know that. So yeah, you should definitely everyone get to the Chicago Game Space, buy your own Shapeir map. But yeah, until you get the map that allows you to fast travel around this game a little more quickly, this is another knock. And it's not that bad if you have the copy protection. If you don't have the copy protection, it is very
I'll
difficult to
I'll
write a
push back
walkthrough.
on that. It is a little confusing to navigate
I
even
mean,
if
yeah,
you
it
have the
could be
map.
easier.
It
It could
is
be.
because like you have to uh it reorients to which
Hmm.
way the hero is walking. And
Hmm.
so like it's not always from like a fixed point of view, and so you have to like figure out, it's like, okay, the hero is now facing east, so therefore on the map he is going east. You know
Yes.
like and that was a bit of a challenge for me as a kid.
Mhm. Yes. No, I mean, it is a little rough, and luckily you obtain a map early in the game that mostly saves you from this trial by fire of its own. But no, those are I think the big knocks you see on this. I will say, as I was like preparing for our recording today, like just going back through Quest for Glory 2, I was jotting down a list of things I love about this game, like elements, characters, puzzles, the whole bit. And it is like the length of my arm. The number of things about this
Where's
one.
this list? Do you have it
This
with you?
this list I have, yeah, it's right here. It's on my arm. I've had
Oh,
tattooed,
there it is.
yeah, memento style. So
Oh, good.
tomorrow, when I wake up and I don't remember what I loved about Quest for Glory 2, I can just look at my arm and remember. I mean, right from the start, like one of the first things that I always think of all things about Quest for Glory 2,
Keep on
the
laughing.
I love Keep On Laughing. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna lie. Keep On Laughing. He is a gnome who owns the magic shop in Shapeir. He is
He sits on a
just like
cloud.
sits on a cloud, floats around in a room, makes puns constantly, little anachronistic
This is
jokes.
Keep on Laughing was opening up a door in the coals that like once that door is open, it never closed again. Uh
Absolutely. No, he is, yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, you see some of this in Quest for Glory 1. You know, there's a
there's a bit
fair
of
share
it,
of,
but they
but
let their
man,
freak out.
yeah,
Once
and it
Keep
is.
On is out, then we're in Pun Town for
We
the
really are.
rest of the series. Like, and it like it kind of ebbs and flows. Like I would say like 3 isn't that like pun heavy, but then we get gnomes in 4 and 5. And then in Hero U is just puns a go go. It's just puns and puns and puns. Like it's like going to your uncle's house. Like it's just it's like Lori and Corey. I don't know if this is one or both of them. I know, like I bet if you watch their Twitch streams, you'll know right away. It's probably both of them. Uh, like they keep on laughing. This little gnome, magical gnome that only speaks in puns, and once that's happened, they're just like, all right, like now everyone knows that we're pun freaks.
Yes. And it's marvelous. Like I could see this being the scene for a lot of people. It's like, ugh,
I
this
love
is
keep on laughing.
exhausting.
Also,
Love him too.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is one of the things. Like when I think of Quest for Glory 2, Keep On Laughing is one of the first characters that jumps to mind. I think about the inn where you're staying with Shima and Shamin. And I mean, first of all, we have the nights when Shima dances. I mean, that
That
is
activated
yeah,
that activated some people. I
absolutely,
am
yeah.
without
This
without a single doubt in my mind,
yes,
Shima, who is a kata, a cat woman, there's the sexy 16 color dance that she does.
like a belly dance.
And there were some kids that saw that, and much like the puns, like a certain door was opened up
Yes, yes.
in,
And
in some people's minds, where they're like, that's what I like
no,
like
absolutely. And, also in the end, you have every time you sit down for a meal, these wonderful descriptions of food that become a hallmark of the series. They're serving all of these Middle Eastern and Mediterranean dishes
yeah,
that just
lots of
all
dates if I
sound,
recall correctly.
yeah, lots of dates, lots of just lovingly described menu items. As a kid, growing up in Appalachia, I didn't have a lot of access to Middle Eastern or even like Greek food
i
or anything like that at
I
the
would
time.
say that, but like, because there's also, I forget which one, if it's in 4 or 5, like there's like avocado sandwiches. Like what
Yes,
avocado garlic sandwiches are in 4, right?
yeah,
Like,
and they're disgusting. Like
and
that's the
yeah,
worst
like
thing
that's the
anyone can
joke.
think
It's
of.
just like this nasty
Toast with
green
avocado on it.
sandwich. And it's just like, yeah, like I would have avocado with garlic between 2 slices of bread any day of the week. It's
Yeah,
very
can I get
filling
a
and
cup of coffee
delicious.
with that? That sounds wonderful. Yeah, maybe some seedy
Absolutely.
bread. Yeah.
Like I think like you're like, yeah, well, as a kid growing up in Appalachia, but it's like I was a kid growing up in the New York suburbs, and like
Hmm.
that food was like obscure to me. Like
Yeah. No.
it like, it's a very different world now in all the
Yes.
best ways.
Yes.
But I mean,
No note.
I
No
speak
notes.
jokingly, but like that is one of the
Yeah.
great ways where it's just
Yeah.
like, I mean, you live in a do you live in a small town?
Yeah, small town, like
Like
John
you have
Cougar
a like
Mellencamp.
you've told me about like the incredible Thai restaurant in your like
Yeah.
there
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a different world than where you come from,
right.
as the show Different World used to say in its theme song. But I
Sure.
that's the more 90s entertainment. I hear they're doing a reboot of A Different World. Have you heard this? Have you heard this, Ben?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Is it
They're rebooting A Different World.
um
Yes. But no, I mean, yeah, love all the Cattell stuff. Oh man, you mentioned earlier the Wizards Institute, was it Technorsery or something like that?
Yeah, like
Yeah, where
techno sorcery or something.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
where you go to be initiated into wit, and you have to pass these trials that challenge you to use your magical spells in maybe more abstract and creative ways than you've used them typically in combat. That sequence as a kid, especially that grand hall that you enter into that has the portraits of all the other great wizards in it. So you see Erasmus from the first game.
Mm-hmm.
You see Genesta,
Mm-hmm.
the fairy from King's Quest
King's Quest
4.
4, yeah.
I love that. Like that wit segment where you're on the little path out in the
Why
middle of
didn't
the
uh
cosmos. Oh,
why
so good.
didn't King's Quest 2 remake why didn't they work in continuity from like Quest for Glory if canonically Genesta exists, and like if you're gonna be
Man, this sounds
but
like your fan game. This sounds like your fan game that you could.
Hero does is that Easter egg still in it? Heroes shows up in Quest for Glory 2. If you look in the rock, where in the
Yes,
original Quest for
I
Glory
think so.
2.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. But no, I mean that part really works for me. What are some of the bits that stand out for you, Ben, when you think back about
Well,
Quest for Glory 2?
the first thing that really hits for me when I think about Quest for Glory 2 is that as the last SCI 0 game, I
Mm-hmm.
believe it was,
Yeah.
it is, and I've been corrected on this. It's not technically SCI 0. It's like SCI 1 point something. But anyway, but you know what I mean. It's the
Yeah.
last of the 16 color games. It is absolutely gorgeous. I
Yes.
think that it looks just spectacular. I like that grand hall with all of the sorcerers looks incredible. They
Mm-hmm.
make all 16 of those colors just look really like wonderful and special, which is why like when I did a very smart thing once, which was I looked at the comments on like a positive review of Crimson Diamond,
Mm-hmm.
the recent game in that art style, where people are like, why did the designer, why did she make it these 16 colors, why'd they do like why'd she do that, like that doesn't make any sense, why'd you do that? And it's just like, because games like that look great,
Yeah.
and like and giving yourself that limitation allows you to like, giving yourself that particular palette of 16 colors and that particular um resolution,
Yeah.
like the folks at Sierra were able to make really wonderful and beautiful looking games, and Quest for Glory 2 I think is just wonderful. I think about like that grand hall. I also think about uh outside of Shapeir at night, when you're at that like expanse where you're looking out at the city and you see like the constellations and all the stars above Shapeir, like it's
Mm-hmm.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um
Absolutely.
like I think it just has really just wonderful and jaw-dropping art from that period. Like some of the best.
And what impresses me about it, we were talking about AGD's remake of King's Quest 2 earlier. Of
Yep.
course, they also did a VGA remake of Quest for Glory 2. When you look at their screens that are done in VGA and at a higher resolution, I don't know that really.
I
I
prefer the
mean,
original.
I do too. I don't know that in
In
some
terms
cases
of
at a glance,
aesthetics, I
I
like
don't
the
know
point
if
and
I.
click.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. But at a glance, I don't even know, like right off the bat, if always, the the 16 color looks so good. It competes very well against the 256 color remake of it. It is just that well done. I mean,
There's
there are
one
Sierra
thing.
games. Yes. Uh
There's
oh.
one thing that
Uh oh.
the AGD remake could have done to make it look better than the original,
Mm-hmm.
and that is, and they didn't do it. They were cowards. And it's not because they were a bunch of volunteers working extremely hard. It was because they were cowards.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't have faces and monsters based off of clay freaks, and we didn't have close-ups of characters that looked like their faces were melting off like it was the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Um,
It is weird they chose not to do that when that is the tradition of this series
that
for
is the
VGA remakes.
tradition of the series is VGA remakes is that
Yeah.
they
Like
have to have
real,
like these really freakish clay faces
yeah,
and monsters.
just freak ass dudes just like running around all made out of clay. Yeah, no, where are those at?
I think one of like uh I do think one of the reasons that the art isn't as striking to me in the remake, and again, the remake is my preferred way. Like I like to play it that way because I prefer like the point and clicks on it
Hmm.
because I'm lazy, and I think they did a really great job. I
Oh
think
yeah.
the aesthetics on AGD's remake don't work as well for me because they, and this is like, this probably made it like this was probably much more straightforward when you're remaking it, is that it looks like they redrew most of the scenes in like 256 colors, as opposed to like if you look at like Quest for Glory 1, like the VGA remake, like they just completely did a
Oh
entirely
yeah.
different
Start over fresh.
style. Like it wasn't that they took each scene and redrew it, which I know is actually a problem that a lot of people have with the Quest for Glory 1 remake, is that it's like Spielberg in the original is very bright, it has this like Germanic
Hmm.
like all the houses in it are these like very bright and ornate houses, and in the VGA remake they're all like kind of run down and tired looking.
Yeah.
um and like I think that's more a storytelling choice than it was an aesthetic choice. I think that was more a like we're like kind of a looked over town, and we haven't like not that many people come here anymore. Like
Yeah.
they made it as a story choice, I think.
And we're a town beset by a number of problems.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Um
absolutely.
but yeah, like I think that's part of the reason. And like but the thing is that they managed to rebuild Quest for Glory 2 in AGS is a unbelievable, like outrageously incredible feat.
Yeah, just building in the combat system and stats, and then what expansive game this is. I have to figure this was just an incredibly complex undertaking.
It like you go from making King's Quest 1 and 2, which were the two that they had made at that up to that point. And then you take on Quest for Glory 2, which has three different classes with skill trees, you have a day and night system, you have a combat system, as you said.
You have
Uh
an honor system that unlocks a secret
yeah,
fourth class, a
yeah.
paladin.
Yeah. Like you have like there are so many complicated systems running all at once. And the thing is that, and I think we might have talked about this in Quest for Glory 1, is that the SCI engine was barely able to run Quest for Glory.
Right.
Like it was
I mean, it's
very
an engine
clear.
built to run a sub simulator.
Yeah. Like it's incredible that they made so many good adventure games on this engine that was designed to make a submarine simulator. And like that, like and the thing is like you'll be playing like King's Quest 5 and every once in a while you'll click something and it will give you like an error message that's like
Yeah.
you're supposed to go to depth 5000
Yeah.
right now, and it's like, oh, this is a line of code
Yeah.
that they didn't fix.
Or occasionally you'll like click look on something and like a periscope will rise up out of Graham's head and it's like that's not supposed to be there. I mean, you can even see it in Quest for Glory 1 when you're there at the lake and at one point like a submarine just like surfaces out of the water. I mean, that's just a leftover strand of code.
Yeah, it's but like all the Quest for Glory games, like obviously famously for like but all of them like would glitch out, which is also why there's such a healthy speedrunning scene around them. Did you watch
Yeah.
the One Short Eye that just
I
came out? I have
haven't
not watched
yet.
it
I
yet.
need to. I'm very excited about this. Everyone be sure to check out the YouTube channel, One Short Eye. Fantastic channel about speedrunning, mostly Sierra games, the history of speedruns, how they evolve for these games over time. One of my favorite YouTube channels. And yeah, they just released a video about Quest for Glory 2 speedrunning that I've only heard wonderful things about.
Yeah,
And I need to set
I
aside some time.
have only ever enjoyed those, so I know I'll have a
Yes,
good time.
same. So because speedrunning is mystifying and seemingly magical to me, and just watching how people do this is my I could never get into speedrunning if there wasn't someone out there who is kind enough to explain to me what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And that's what One Short Ad does for me. But yeah, the Quest for Glory 2 speedrunning community alive and well. Absolutely. But this is a gorgeous game. Great music, of course, also. But most Sierra games from this era have very impressive musical scores. I mean, that was an area where Sierra was really leading the industry at the time, and Quest for Glory 2 is no exception. I think this one has my favorite combat system
Really?
ever
I
in the
don't like either of the combat systems, either in the original or the remake. I don't
I love
like
the original.
either
I
of them.
love the numpad. Like now you can do like different lunges forward. You have, some dodges that are put on that. I mean, it feels a little bit more three-dimensional to me than the Quest for Glory 1 combat did. Like I actually used to enjoy. I would go to the Adventurers Guild every day to go train with Ahura, and do the sparring with her and everything. And that was I enjoyed the combat enough that was actually a highlight of the game for me. It's like every morning as soon as my hero woke up, it's like it's time to do my combat training and grind out some stats there. And I would just stand and dodge and parry and dodge and parry until I ran out of stamina and eventually just go for the kill from there. But I liked this combat system a lot. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
maybe I'll enjoy it more when we do the replay. And when did we both do the AGD remake or
We
just
did.
me?
We both did
Okay.
the AGD
So yeah,
remake.
well,
So
that will have to be one of the changes. We'll both have to play the
okay,
original.
perfect, perfect, perfect. That's good. That's a good start.
Uh,
The combat's not for you though.
no, but you know what? Like, I'm willing to give it another try.
Mm.
Here's a question for you. How do you feel about the end game sequence in Razier? Because that
Okay.
is, I would like, for me, like beyond like the timer stuff, which is just like, well, that's a choice that they made. And I didn't love it at the like when I played it as a kid, but now I get it and it's kind of dynamic. It's interesting, but it's not my favorite choice they made. But like I don't hate it. But the whole Razier sequence when you get like at the end game, the final segment of the game is in this like sister city, this mirror city to Shapeir, which is
It's
like this
dilapidated and corrupt.
totalitarian,
Yeah.
like,
It's a Casablanca Maltese falcony kind of vibe with a lot of the story there. I will say this is an area where I think Quest for Glory 2 has always let me down a bit
yeah.
in the sense that I think as a kid, I just remember the first time I played this and I finally took that caravan to Rasir. And the caravan bit is wonderful with
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
intermission
That
and the
part's
big
great.
battle. The scene of him like standing atop all the enemies he's just slain triumphantly
Yeah.
is wonderful. But I think as a kid, I thought it's like, all right, I'm in Rasir, which of course is just a jumbled up version of the word Sierra. Um, I once I arrived in Rasir, I thought, okay, this is now time for part two of the game, and I assumed I was at the halfway point. And in fact, you're like at the three quarters, if not a little bit more
Well,
point. I feel like
that
maybe,
that doesn't bother me as much as
yeah, I
just
think that was just my misperception as a kid. And
yeah.
it just felt like it wasn't quite as fully baked. I mean, it's an emptier city. There's not as much to do in it. And that kind of bummed me out as a
The
kid.
the problem with Razier to me, I mean, honestly, now that I think about it, if you look at it as a game that's like just kind of building on what they did in one,
Hmm.
Razier isn't like another city. It's like going to the brigands fortress in one.
Yes, that's true.
Because like what I don't love about the Razier part, like when like I think about my last full playthrough of it, is that like the game switches to being like intensely linear.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and like it essentially just becomes like a Sierra adventure game. Like
Mhm.
it switches from like this open world with a timer, but like this kind of open world to this very like it's like you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Like
And
it's
you're
like
kind of
a
railroaded from bit to bit. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
And
it's a different pace.
and like and that's a miss, and it's also it's weird that like all of a sudden it like intensely just becomes a straight Casablanca parody. Like
Yes.
it's not even like a little bit subtle, like it's not, because like every other game including the rest of Quest for Glory 2 like has like, like in Quest for Glory 1, there's the Three Stooges, and in Quest for Glory 2, there's the Marx Brothers,
Oh my god, I love
and
the Marx Brothers in
which
this
is
game.
such a delight. Like they're the Marx
Ali
Brothers,
Baker, Ali Chica. Oh my gosh,
yeah. And then
so
you
good.
see Harpo just kind of wandering around honking the horn
Yeah.
at one point,
Oh man.
and like, and that's a lot of fun. And then like when it just like kind of pivots into you're just in a straightforward parody of Casablanca, like as opposed to like a little taste of it, like it's just like now you're playing a adventure game that's like silly Casablanca, like that bumps me, like
Yeah.
it bumps me, like the tone is off in my opinion.
Well, especially when you get a little bit further into this and you're now in like the end game, it's like now the stakes are super high. It's like, maybe we're summoning some sort of djinn that's going to destroy this whole kingdom. We run into Adaviz, the sorcerer, who's their big bad guy here. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, it feels like maybe we're summoning a dark ancient one and that feels bad. But yeah, like it just is like preceded by this, yeah, again, just straight up, aping of Casablanca. And yeah, that part is a little bit less exciting. But Ben, by that same token, there's a naked lady.
I'm making a face right now
He
that's like
is,
ooh
he
la
is.
la.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have this scene where if you were smart enough, Ben, if you were smart enough back in Keep On Laughing's magic shop
I'm
to
making faces
buy,
again. No one
I
sees
know,
this, but I'm making hilarious faces.
yeah, I mean, it is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, Jess is laughing. He just keeps pushing the mute button.
Yeah, which is hard because I'm like, I, yeah, I mean that's how hard I'm laughing. That's great audio. That's
That
good
must have been
radio.
very upsetting.
But like if you bought those X-ray specs, you eventually find a woman who needs to escape Shapeir, and if you put on those X-ray specs, Ben, while she's changing clothes, you can see
Yeah,
her all Leisure Suit Larry naked style.
I'm making a face again.
Yeah, I mean, and talk about my. Uh,
My.
yeah, the ultimate compliment you can pay in this sort of instance of pixelated nudity. I mean, this game, I guess what I'm trying to say, has it all.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, that's the problem.
Like
It's a good game.
It's so good that while we were talking about it, we decided that we are going to play it again. Which I think there's no better compliment.
That's the highest compliment we give. Now, Ben, I do want to say, as we're hashing out this agreement,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm committing to Quest for Glory 5 again.
I also had that thought, and I'm here. There's a couple things. First off, we have to talk about we're now on the road. We're going to talk about Quest for Glory on this podcast, so maybe we'll reopen. Uh, but also I think that's a bridge we'll cross when we get there because we're not going to play them all in a row.
No.
And Quest for Glory 5 is better than its reputation, which we're going to
Yes.
talk about on our podcast. Like,
Yes.
there's just a lot.
Oh, it's exciting. I mean,
It's also a pain in the
yeah,
ass to get running, and
it is. It
then
is. I
even
mean,
worse to get it to stream. Like, it's just such a pain in the ass of a
in
game.
my playthrough, I just let somebody murder Rakesh too, and I still feel really bad about that. I just like stood there and like watched somebody like throw a poison dagger at him. Is like, sucks to be you, Rakesh.
Yeah, so
And
and I
yeah,
got this like a bad ending in it. So it's like I feel
yeah,
like we both
yeah,
probably should replay 5 just so we get a
yeah.
better ending.
At the end of mine, it was so weird. The Baron von Spielberg showed up and actually revoked my hero Spielberg status. The Sultan from Quest for Glory 2 said I was no longer his son.
The
All
big
the women
green
that I'd met through
face
the yeah,
from
all the women I'd met through the
yeah.
series like walked up and just slapped my hero in the face. It was yeah. I mean, I got like the worst ending of that game.
All right,
I did
we're
not.
gonna have a podcast about Quest for Glory 5.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be what do we think? Like early 2027
Yeah, early
for that
2027.
one.
Yeah.
Q1 2027. Be ready for our Quest for Glory 5 podcast. But no, I mean, I think this speaks volumes to the charm of Quest for Glory 1, Quest for Glory 2 that we've talked about today. That it's hard for me to like look at screenshots of this game and talk about some of these segments. I mean, oh my goodness, the Julinar bit with the tree lady out in the desert. So much about this game is just so incredibly charming to me. The fact that
Don't
we
you want
walked
to
away
have
being
the
like, I've
payoff
got
of
to play this again.
Julinar in Quest for Glory 5?
What was that?
Don't you want to have the payoff of the Julinar subplot in Quest for Glory 5?
I mean, I guess.
That's
I
right.
mean, I told the apothecary about her in Quest for Glory
Yeah, of
3. Isn't
course you
that enough?
did.
Yeah. I mean, here's the other thing, gang. Here's a quick preview of our Quest for Glory 3 episode. Quest for Glory 3 is pretty good. It's a lot better than its reputation. These games in general are just pretty good games.
Yeah, the worst Quest for Glory is still not too bad.
Yeah.
But
If you're
anyway,
coming here for
yeah.
like a nuanced exploration of the pros and cons of the Quest for Glory series, I don't know if you're likely to get that on our episodes about Quest for Glories 1 through 4. I'm afraid these might just be good games, gang.
Yeah. All right. Well, we wrapped it up. I think that's that. I think we got it.
We did it.
I think we got it.
Ben, if you had to rank Quest for Glory 2 against some of your favorite LucasArts adventure games,
Yeah.
like if you put it head to head with Monkey Island 2, how does it do?
This is like these are just completely different games, you know. Like they're
Oh, they
not
both have
like
2 in the title, so they have a lot in common. Space Quest 6?
yeah, Space Quest 6. I think it's Space Quest 6 I'd pick that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like
All
I
right,
don't
well, you
know.
heard it here first.
They're both good games that are like completely different. It's like what would
Yeah.
you like what's your favorite piece of clothes? A boot or like a jacket? Like
Jacket.
yeah. All right. Well, there you go. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to Quest the Adventure Game Podcast. You can follow both of us on Twitch. I am PS_Garrick, GARAK.
And I am Decaf Jedi.
We're the same on YouTube, so you know if you're not watching our streams on Twitch, you can always watch us on YouTube. You can send us an email at questquestpodcast@gmail.com. Love reading your emails. And you could and should, and we wish
And
you
must.
yeah, must. Give us a 5-star review. It helps people find the show. And since we've already established that I don't want to deal with getting a Patreon, like, you know, like it's just for ego, but like, come on, you know, like write a nice review.
Come on,
Just,
give
it's
him it.
like, just, yeah, give them it. Just
Give him it. Just give him it.
5 stars. And this is all you got to do. You got to write, it's good.
Yeah, give him it.
Yeah.
Just give him it.
Like, does anyone read like a podcast review anymore? I think they just look at the stars. So just write 5 stars. It's good.
Mhm.
It's fine.
And then maybe say a few words about which host you like best.
Do I how do I feel about that?
I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, I don't think Ben or I either one are comfortable
Yeah,
with how
neither
that
of
could
us want
play
to know
out.
that.
Yeah, now that I say that out loud, whatever you do, don't say which host is better.
Neither of us want to know that. Anyway, thank
Yeah.
you so much. QuestPodcast@gmail.com. Join us next week when we discuss Quest for Glory 5.